having that Ace of Hearts in particular and Saturn, you can feel like I'm not enough. So for you, social media could really send you on a tailspin
I see.
where you're looking at other people and personally in your heart, Ace of Hearts, feeling like I'm not enough.
Yeah, because I do tend to do a comparison game and feel like I'm not enough. And then how do you support that Ace of Hearts is there? Do you say, okay, stay away from social media or
You are now live from the source with Viki and Alexander. Live your life from the source. Play your cards right. What's your number? All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to another edition of Live from the Source. I'm Alexander.
And I'm Viki.
And today we're here with our good friend, Selina Delangre. Selina, welcome, Selina.
Welcome. It's amazing to have you.
Welcome you.
Amazing to
so
have
honored.
you.
I'm all ready to go into your amazing bio here, but yes, let's say hello first. Okay. Selina is a best-selling author of In Her Element, Sea Salt, Surrender, and the Journey to a Whole Life. She's the owner of the most loved sea salt brand in the world, Celtic Sea Salt. For over 30 years, she has led the sea salt industry through trends and innovation and received endless testimonials from customers who have incredibly great results using her sea salts and products. She sources sea salts from all over the world, including France, Spain, Portugal, Mexico, Guatemala, and Hawaii. Her passion to provide the world with clean, high mineral salt has grown her brand to be the most trusted sea salt available. Selina is also the mother of three, the oldest of whom was born with cerebral palsy. Selina's journey of seeking out healing solutions came out of her need to help repair her son's brain damage. She ultimately began questioning the cause and effect of our actions and intentions, and in turn began to study lifestyle choices that promote optimal well-being. Welcome, Selina.
Thank
So
you
beautiful.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us to tell us your story about what it's been like for you to be born to play the Six of Diamonds with an Eight of Clubs personality. So, to introduce yourself a little bit, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Like the bio said, I have been running a company for quite a few years. and with no real formal education, business degree, or anything. So I have done this by the seat of my pants and just figured it out every day that I've done it. I've done a lot of humbly surrendering of understanding I don't know what the heck I'm doing every day, but showing up still eager and ready to do what I'm supposed to be, what I'm called to do. And I'm a mother of three children. My son passed away in 2007, and he was 28 years old. And I'm a grandma now of four amazing granddaughters. And actually, I'm coming into a phase of my life of another direction, which is, bringing partners into my company. So I'm at a crossroad also right now.
Okay.
Wonderful. What was it first like for you when you found out about the cards and your cards to play?
Mm. It was exciting because I'm really into all of these different insights that we can gain about our life and about ourselves. So I'm very intrigued about all of that. Um, and I think it was really at the time I worked with Alexander on 101, it was kind of like a life preserver for me at that time in my life. It was like I couldn't wait to the next session. I would have a list of things that I couldn't wait to bring to his attention and Alexander's attention when it was our time to talk. Navigating through different personalities, mainly employees, all of that. Immediately I trusted it. Immediately it resonated with me and it made sense. So I never doubted it or questioned its truth.
And you had a long journey up to that point of when you first started working with me and learning your cards to play. So when you say you trusted the cards immediately and instinctively, I feel like you had come a long way already in your own process to bring you to that place of knowing what you could and couldn't trust.
Yeah, I think that one thing I have trusted in life is that nothing's by chance. And the fact that I met you, Alexander, that wasn't by chance. So I knew that was with a purpose. And so to me, it was kind of like another stepping stone that we all have in our life, of things that we get to be introduced to and then explore.
It's interesting. It's like the way you talk about, how you even do your business. It's like I just feel innately this is like you go with your own instinct. You kind of go with the flow with what life brings you, which to me is really innately already playing your cards well. Like maybe even before knowing the cards, it's like
Yeah.
just really you're in tune with that, with those energies of like really like playing a six of diamonds is all about gut instincts, and then eight of clubs is the infinity symbol, and it's like, infinite knowledge, but it also requires going with the flow,
Mm.
like if you get too tied up in knots, then that's, that, goes in a different direction. But
Right.
it feels like you innately, are tuned into those energies within yourself and just the way you presence everything about yourself and your life and your path.
Absolutely. And it also, Alexander was able to read the cards to show me that I need to trust that instinct and intuition more. And then the manifestations will flow. And it's not allowing the flow. I would get visuals when Alexander hold the card up. I would get these visuals in my head. The way he says, "See how this flows, and see how this goes
Yeah.
like this." So in my head
Yeah.
during life, I'd just be going, "Okay, picture that. You're not letting it flow. You're not letting it flow."
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really true. I love how visual this system is, and there are many wonderful esoteric systems. And you mentioned that there are a lot of different ways to know ourselves, and there are. I love the simplicity and the visual language of this system.
Mhm.
That there's your birth card, the six of diamonds, and it is all about finding that flow and being in that flow and lining everything up and allowing everything to line up smoothly and gracefully without imposing your own um, expectations or
Agenda.
demands on it,
Yeah. Mhm.
and just allowing things to settle. And that's what you're talking about, that's
Mhm.
been your way of growing your business. Could you say a little more about what that's been like for you to learn to surrender into that flow?
Yes, it has allowed me to trust my guidance more because my tendency, and I'm sure you'll show me where that shows up in my cards, my tendency is to I over information myself. So
Mm,
I can't seem to make a good decision unless I've gotten all the data and all the information. And then I'm even overwhelmed with now there's just too many places I can make a decision.
well, that's right in your personality card. Vicky
Yeah.
was about to hold it up. Um, the eight of clubs as your personality, we can cover up the six of diamonds on purpose and say that that eight of clubs is your outer persona and how you would show up. And the low side of the eight of clubs, Vicky already alluded to, can mean getting your mind tangled up in knots, overanalyzing and overthinking,
Mhm.
and that can definitely block you from being in your instinctive flow.
And as you're talking to me, I'm realizing how I actually want to book another book that whole segment did because it was so therapeutic. It's like I knew it, but when I would talk to you and you would remind me, it was like, like I got a little injection of I don't know what it was. That trust and faith thing comes in when I would have sessions with you, and I would almost like in my head, going, why do you have to talk to Alexander to be reminded of that? You already said it in a couple sessions before. Why do you have to say it again? Why do you have to hear it again?
I think we all need that.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
really do. I mean, it's just the confirmation of this to know the template of a life path and the energetic patterns that one is playing out to me is like really profound. And just to know that, it's even before, like we're coming in with this energy, with these energy patterns to play out, So yeah, just to have, I know I need the confirmation also,
It's for
it's a
me, yeah,
process of, living it and reminding ourselves and, practicing it in a way, the mindfulness around it.
absolutely. I mean, it's something we talk about on a daily basis. We live it, breathe it, and teach it, and we still need reminders ourselves
Do you
every
guys
day,
do
and
that between each other? Like, oh, well, that's
we do.
this showing up, and that's that. Yeah,
Yes, and sometimes we're triggered as
yeah.
well. I mean,
Hmm.
even though again we know this information, there's still the human experience of it. And my birth card is the 9 of hearts. I feel things to the nines, and I can also go down that emotional ladder sometimes. And Vicky can see that and can call me out, and I could call myself out. But to your point, it's a continual reminder. It's a continual self-awareness where it's so easy for me to judge myself. Like, oh, why did I go into the low side of my cards again? Why am I getting into that old pattern? It's still a continual process for me.
Yeah. So for me, that was it was very beneficial. There would be like even SOSs that I would call Alexander. Going, can I have a meeting with you now? I need to
Mhm.
understand
Mhm.
this certain personality and why is this happening? Why am I so triggered? And I couldn't even, it was very hard for me to function without that counseling when I was going through my Book of Job moments, for all
Mhm.
these different things. So it really helped me. It's, we all have those Book of Job seasons or moments in our life. And you start to go and go, what the hell is happening? Why can't I seem to? And when Alexander would just present it, goes, well, this is playing out because an example is a certain person in my life. I was like a 6 and they were a 10, and they have a hard time taking directions from a 6. And I went, I just all of a sudden just fell in love with that person. It was just like, oh my gosh, now I have empathy with that person. Now I understand why they are so triggered. And so for me, I think it's especially if you have employees. I mean, it helps with families, it helps with friends, but if you have employees, I'm telling you, it is such a great tool to use.
I agree. I mean, when I first learned the system, I looked everybody up in my life. It was like nonstop looking everybody up, and it was so healing because I finally could understand on a deeper level the dynamics of all of my relationships. Like, no wonder this person is playing this energy, and it's different than me or the same as me, and it's my mirror. It just
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite aspects of the system is dynamics of relationships. Very
Yeah,
healing.
it is. And
Yeah.
when Alexander and I were going through this, I guess this is when I become really transparent when my counselor's telling me don't share so much, but I'm going to share it anyway. And I was looking for a partner and I found this guy and I said, can you do his cards? And all of a sudden he goes, guess what? And I said, what? He's a 6 of diamonds also. And I went, what? So it was interesting because I didn't really see any similarities in either one of us, but when Alexander explained it, that this I am reaping the benefits of those first chapters of my life and generosity and everything. And now it's like coming back. I'm reaping what I sowed. And this person that I asked him to see what his cards were, he was reaping what he sowed too, which was not generosity. So it was like, wow, this is amazing. Two exact same cards, um, living this life and kind of living out those first chapters of the what you sow is what you reap kind of thing.
Mhm.
That was
Well,
amazing.
that's
And
and that's a very important aspect of your 6 of diamonds. The karma is a theme in your life because the 6 is the number of alignment. So we'll hold up the card again. It's these two straight lines. and it's symbolic of how everything does line up and you do reap what you sow. And I've often found for people born to play a six of diamonds that they're instinctively aware of karma. Was that true for you? You knew instinctively that what you reap is what you sow?
Yeah. Yeah. If that's, if I didn't look at it that way, I probably looked at it a way, where the dysfunctional way of looking at it is I'm a people pleaser. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you do reap what you sow, but I'm also a people pleaser. So I tend to base what I am manifesting on how many people I have pleased in my life, which can
Wow.
backfire because you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and it's challenging to run a business that way too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very, very challenging. And I'm telling you, like I will always say, it was my prayers that got the company where it is today because it was not my style of running a company. That's for sure.
I have one other question about when you talked about the person being the same card, the six of diamonds.
Yeah.
Do you know their personality card?
He was a
I
double
don't,
six of
Was
diamonds.
he?
Yeah,
He was a double.
double six of diamonds.
Okay.
yeah.
Because just also that really comes into play as well when you originally said how you didn't see any similarities
Yeah.
when
Because
it's
different
that's
personalities.
also a big factor is the personality cards being different than people show up differently, with the different personality. So
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Um,
How do people use these in their life to, you know, how like astrology, you'll look up your astrology for the day or whatever. So how do
mhm.
people use the cards as their guidance and their tools in life?
Well, that's a good question, and that gives me an opportunity to tell people about our daily game.
Sure. Okay, great.
Um, I'm not sure if you intended it that way, but thank you. It gives me a chance to plug what we're doing. We have a
That's
daily
great.
game where you can play along every day. There are cards in play every day. So, for example, today is the Queen of Diamonds Day as we're recording this. If somebody's born today, that would be their birth card. But then for the rest of us, we move through that energy frequency just for the day. And we will experience life through that prism. And we still have free will, as always, so we can still choose how we interact with it. But I've noticed over the years of watching this that people will have similar experiences on the same day. And so then in our daily game community, we chat about it. We talk about what our daily experiences are. And we literally play along every day in the game of life. Every 365 days is different set of cards to play every day. So I created a whole program with Viki's help where the daily mantra, daily meditation, daily guidance, and we shoot a daily video for every day to guide people to literally to play their cards right every day.
And how is this done? Like an app on the your phone, on the
It's
computer?
online. We have an online community and you can access it on your phone as well. There is an app for it on your phone as well. And
Fun.
it's called the Daily Game and you can access it through our website, thesourcecards.com.
Wow. That's exciting. I'm gonna do that.
And to give an example, like, so today being the Queen of Diamonds, it gives the guidance about the Queen of Diamonds. And then like on the high side, the Queen of Diamonds is very nurturing.
Mm.
And so like, are you spending time at all in the day to do things that nurture yourself?
Mm.
Now, on the low side, she can be a real taskmaster and like really demanding, like off with your head, off with my own head, and she could just, go through the day, like sort of manically, like getting things done and, like being a real taskmaster to others and herself. So it's to know what energy pattern is in play. And then you make the choice. How do you want to play it? You know? And for example, today, Queen of Diamonds is very different from something like the Four of Clubs, which is more about organization. And so you might want to utilize that energy on a Four of Clubs day by organizing your paperwork that you haven't done in like the last 2 weeks or, things like that. So it's utilizing the guidance to make the best choices for the energy with the energy patterns that are in play for that day.
Yeah. To be in flow, And it comes back to what you were saying about being in flow, so that we're not trying to work against the currents of life, that we can literally be in the flow. And then we still do work, you're still swimming, you're still doing something, but you're moving with the current instead of maybe inadvertently trying to swim against the current, which gets really tiring.
Do you ever use it as a navigation to say, "Oh, I shouldn't travel today," and Mars is in retro, whatever, all those things?
That's a good question. What I that is an interesting
Mm,
question. There's a fine line in there that
mhm.
I navigate for myself because, on the one hand, I think people can get a little obsessed about, is Mars in retrograde or is Mercury
Right,
in
exactly.
retrograde, or is it a three of clubs day? I don't want to travel on that day or
Almost feeling
whatever.
like we don't have any control of our life at all because of that.
Exactly. So I definitely don't want to go into that direction because it can
Mhm.
be done with any system. We can get
Right.
obsessed about it
Mhm.
through any way of looking at things. And then on the other hand, there are days, for example, a 4 day, things are more structured on a four diamonds day or four of clubs day. It's more likely that your plans are going to go as planned,
Mm,
that you're not going to have interruptions or hiccups in your plans. So that's maybe a
okay.
good day to travel on, for example. But my fine line that I navigate is, I will look at what is the best day for me or for us to travel, not what the best card day is. And then let's say the best day, it's a Sunday, that's the day we're going to travel back. And it's a Sunday. That's the day that we can travel back because we have work on Monday. Maybe it's a 5 day on that Sunday. And five is about change and things may be going unexpectedly. I'll just mentally prepare myself to say, okay, our travel plans may be unexpected today. Maybe we need to take a different route, or maybe there's going to be
Mhm.
something that changes about our plans. And I'll prepare myself mentally that something is going to change and I'm going to be ready to roll with the change. And I'm not going to be too insistent on whatever my preconceived plans might have been.
Mm.
So that's kind of my middle path that I'll look at. Rather than picking the day to travel on, it's more about preparing my mindset.
For the what ifs.
Yeah.
And are all these cards like six of diamonds always on that date, or do they change
Yes.
each year?
No, they're always on that date.
Ah,
And there are, I'm not sure, 10 or 11 birthdays in the year that have six of diamonds as the birthday, because the
interesting.
52 cards cycle through in the 365 days. So that's why somebody could be born to play the six of diamonds, but then have a different personality card, which is determined by the astrological sign and the planet in the sign, and whatever is that planetary card in your life path of your 13 plus cards in your life path.
Mm,
So different people born to play a six of diamonds would show up a little differently through a different planetary prism.
mm. Something that stood out for me when we were navigating through some of my employee things, and I don't remember where it came up, but this whole thing about a victim and a villain came up. I remember with one of them, and how it just helped me to understand that as we go through life, you couldn't, I mean, what is a book or a movie without a victim and a villain? I mean, what is your life without that? I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so if that's the reality of being a human here in this dimension, as that those two roles are actually something that plays a role for us, whether it's a benefit or whatever it is, it really helped me to say, um, it's okay. You're not always a victim for every relationship, and you're not always looked at as a villain for a relationship. But the main thing was the villain part. And I thought, I'm such a nice person. How could anybody think I'm a villain? And it wasn't that I was like an evil, you know, bad superhero. I was really just having to play this role out as a victim in this relationship or as a villain in this relationship. And that really helped me a lot. My personality helped me to absorb, it's okay. It's nothing that you are doing. or you can do to fix this. It's just receiving, this is the role you two are playing in this. And how are you going to expand through it? That helped a lot, Alexander, in one of our sessions.
Well, it's really empowering to recognize that we have roles to play, that we have cards to play, and to not take it personally when it goes well or when it doesn't go
Yeah.
well or when other people receive it or don't receive it. That's been a big lesson for me.
Hmm.
Um, that we can even transcend that dichotomy of victim and villain, that even those are just labels that we may get placed with or we may utilize. But in reality, really and truly, in reality, we're all simply playing our cards out for
Yeah,
better
that
or for
yeah.
worse.
And in one relationship, you might be that victim, and another one, you might be that villain. But because we're just playing them all out, it's not. It. I just understood that just because I'm a six of diamonds doesn't mean that six of diamonds is going to show up the same way with all the other interaction of all the personalities.
Well, it's true because let's say your six of diamonds is the Saturn card for someone else's life path,
Hmm.
then they may think of you as a villain. They may think
Exactly.
of you like you, big bad wolf, but you're there as a teacher for them.
Hmm.
And then vice versa. You can have different dynamics in your relationships across the board. And as Vicky mentioned, that's her favorite part of this is looking at those relationship dynamics.
Right, and trying to not judge myself and how I have a tendency of reacting, but just recognize it, you know?
Mm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's all a matter of perspective of how we see these things as well. As soon as it comes to the surface, like, oh, wait, I'm playing a victim in this, or I'm playing a villain. It's like then that awareness, like, okay, what do you choose to do now then in this
Mhm.
situation? How do you
Mhm.
learn from it and move on and grow from that, knowing
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
deeper pattern that's in play?
Yeah. Yeah, it was very, and I would actually reflect and I go, "Wow, I was a villain. I was a bully. I really handled that discussion like a bully." For whatever insecure reasons I had that I had to react that way. But here I am, owner of a company, the boss and CEO, but I'm intimidated by certain dialogues, discussions, or whatever might come up to where I have to be a bully to protect myself. And I recognize that. And I went, wow. Uh-uh. I
Well,
mean, what was the threat? There was no threat. They weren't going to fire me. I was the boss here, but I was still putting up a wall or protection or whatever, and in that, I was the bully. I look back and I go, "Wow, you didn't have to say that the way you said it."
Right. And it is innately in the cards you're playing, 6 and an 8, that can happen with the 6 and the 8. They can be bully. They can have that intensity, it is, in part of the template, both the high side and the low side,
Mhm.
both of the energy patterns. So,
it's really wonderful that you can self reflect on that
yes.
and notice that and appreciate your vulnerability in sharing that with us now.
Mm.
The recognition that in those moments where you felt insecure, your knee jerk reaction was to be a bully.
Yep.
And as Vicky's saying, that's in the patterning of the six of diamonds and the eight of clubs. This one of the ways that I found this system of knowledge so helpful is that it shows us what our low side looks like and what we do when we are insecure or when we're hangry, as the saying goes,
Mhm.
when we're sleep deprived, when we're off our game, pun intended. Then we can see clearly in the mirror of these patterns, oh, that's what I look like. That's what I do. And it can be really unpleasant to look at. It takes courage to see it that way.
It does, but I'm gonna go back to, this is such a phenomenal tool to use so that you don't beat yourself up in that acknowledgement because that's what I was doing. But then, it's interesting. I even reflect back to where when my son was born, I was 20 years old. He was born with cerebral palsy. So for the whole 28 years of his entire life, I went through the shame and guilt that I did this to him because I had him at home and he was stuck in the birth canal and how, all the different baggage that came with that decision and the consequence of that decision. And then finally I surrendered and I didn't believe in psychics and all of this, but this woman came into my life, and I went and met with her. And the first thing that she said was, your soul and your son's soul agreed to come here exactly in the roles that you guys did. So as soon as she said that to me, it was as if I'm having this conversation with you guys. I remembered the conversation I was having with Creator, saying, okay, this is what your two souls are going to come in next to do with each other. One of you has to be extremely handicapped and the other one has to take care of the other person. And Dominique says, I'll be the handicapped one, because in that dimension, there is no fear or anticipation of what the physical world is going to deliver in these agreements we have. And I said, okay, I'll be the caretaker. And then when the psychic came back, and the medium or whatever you call her came back, and she said, Selina, the reason your soul chose to become the caregiver of being the mother of such a profound special needs child is the humility that comes with that. It is so humbling for someone to give birth and push them in a wheelchair. So it's a constant reminder she did something wrong, but nothing was done wrong, because you're going to come into a huge amount of power, and you could be a really asshole bully if you're not humbled. And this is
Wow.
what you had to play out so you can come into the power, so you would be, but I'm still have a tendency to be the bully, even in that humbling, experience.
Well, thank you for sharing
That
your
is
yeah,
really
thank you for sharing your story. And I really appreciate what you're saying about letting go of the self-judgment and recognizing that there's a larger purpose. And that's one of the another ways that I've really benefited myself from this toolkit of the source cards, is to stop beating myself up for
Mhm,
the ways that I've felt like I had regrets.
mhm.
And yeah, so it's thank you for sharing that. I mean, it's a profound realization that you're
it
talking
really
about.
is.
Yeah,
Very powerful sharing. Thank you.
absolutely. And I share this with a lot of people that, like I just said, this reminded me, I got to get back on the Alexander track this again, because I just go through life, and I think that we all need these modalities to just to get through life, especially today with all this uncertainty. And um, my gosh, social media is slamming in our face every day of how we should be and how we, all of that. So I just believe our self identity is really being questioned every day. And I think this tool, the cards, really help us navigating through all of it. And these personalities that come into my life, and even if it's for just an hour, there was a purpose in that hour personality coming into my life. And if I knew the cards more, I would understand. I think I would appreciate each personality that comes in, and really ask myself, why is this person showing up in my life? Let's really look deeper.
It's true. We can see what role each person plays in our life in the
Mhm.
cards based on the relationship dynamics.
Yeah.
What's the patterning there in between the two of us? That is the energy frequency. It's like musical harmonics. We can read the music more clearly and see what's really being played out, literally. And there are people who are super intuitive or psychic who can read that. They don't need a tool, this modality of the cards. I needed it. I needed this tool to help me see the patterns. And you're so right, Selena, the ways in which the world, bigger than social media, but the world at large and social media trips us up and knocks us off our game and can make us easily judge ourselves, feel bad about ourselves. We were just talking about this the other day. Viki was pointing out the effects of social media that she sees and that she notices, and how it can distort our perception of ourselves and our reality.
We can get, sucked down a rabbit hole with all of it. It just can, and it's a practice to not go in that direction. I believe, to have things like these tools to help guide us and stay on the path, to stay clear of it.
to stay
I
knowing who
know.
we are and
Yeah.
to be grounded in ourselves. Exactly what you're saying, Selena,
Yeah.
Mhm.
to be able to sift through the noise and come home to ourselves and remember ourselves. Because it's so easy to look into the mirror of the social media mirror,
Mhm.
which is like a mirror, and people are posting and selfies, and then we compare ourselves and we look into that mirror and we don't look as good. We judge ourselves as lacking in comparison. It's very easy to, anyway. Look how beautiful that person is. Look how successful they
Look how
are.
many followers they have. I mean, that's just I hear that a lot from people, like, they're
Mm.
not enough. They don't have enough followers. They're not doing enough. That it just yeah, brutal. So,
Yeah, and I think the cards would help a person even navigate through social media a little bit better, I would think. I have to stay away from it. My personality has to stay away from it. And I don't know if my cards show or if the cards actually reflect, yeah, that person should not be in social media. Oh, but that person probably could handle social media. Do the cards reflect that?
To some extent, we can look at patterns. This may be a good opportunity to kind of to go a little deeper if you're
Yeah,
willing to talk about your
absolutely.
cards
Yeah.
so that your shadow side,
mm,
or
mhm.
yeah, we could go the shadow side and the Saturn card. So the Pluto card in your life path is the Five of Hearts, and that's the shadow. And then the Saturn card is the Ace of Hearts. And so the Saturn is the teacher, and the Pluto is the shadow that's cast over us.
Mm.
With my lovely Vanna White assistant here holding the card. Um, but having that Ace of Hearts in particular and Saturn, you can feel like I'm not enough, or um,
Well, just
I need
explain
to
oh,
please
sorry.
other people more to feel like I'm worthy somehow. And so for you, social media could really send you on a
Mhm.
tailspin
I see.
where you're looking at other people and personally in your heart, Ace of Hearts, feeling like I'm not enough. So in your case, that would be a correlation to answer your question where social media might trigger that Ace of Hearts patterning in your own template.
Mm. Yeah, because I'm very sensitive to that. I even have a ring that my daughter bought me and it says, comparison is the thief of joy,
Mhm.
because I do tend to
Right.
do a comparison game a lot and feel like I'm not enough.
Mhm. Yeah, the ace just as a, the ace of hearts just as a general, overview to share with people is the ace is about initiating. It's a singular energy, as you can see on the card. It's a solo energy. You've got all this space in the center of this single pip in the middle. Hearts represent emotions, emotional expression, emotional intelligence. And then on the high side, it's expressing your emotional intelligence, initiating, expressing feelings. And then on the low side, that insecurity and not feeling like enough.
Mm. And then how do you support that acknowledgement that ace of hearts is there? Do you say, okay, stay away from social media or try not to take things so personal or get a ring and put it on your finger? Reminds you.
Well, the Ace of Hearts as your life lesson in Saturn, that's what it means when you have it in the Saturn position. That's your life lesson. The Ace of Hearts as your life lesson is to feel comfortable in your solitude. So it's
Wow.
checking out not just from social media, but from trying to find validation or appreciation from anyone else. It's becoming comfortable by yourself and becoming
So is that
comfortable
a
in
reflection that I might end up being single for the rest of my life or no?
not necessarily.
Okay.
And as we've talked about in our work together,
Mhm.
the paradox is that as you get comfortable in your own skin, that's when you're emitting the heart frequency of comfort and self love, self awareness. That is the energy frequency that then becomes attractive of a life partner. If you're not comfortable with yourself, if there's any kind of self judgment or desperation, or I need someone else in order to feel loved, then that can be a repelling energy that would block the attraction of a partner.
So really the bottom line is it's deeply falling in love with yourself, really fully appreciating yourself.
And that's the
And
life lesson. And
mhm,
so having compassion for yourself, that it's a lesson. Going back to our earlier conversation where this toolkit helps us to let go of judgment of the things that are difficult for us. And this is something that can be difficult for you is learning to love yourself, which is, again, it sounds strange on paper. Here you are, very successful in your life, ro- rose to the pinnacle of your career, and yet this hidden kind of am I worthy of love energy can crop up.
Mm,
And it could be very easy for you to judge yourself. Like, why do I still feel this way?
mm. And I do. Yeah. And it
mm.
has nothing to do with what I've achieved in life. That doesn't erase it.
It's very interesting. Freddie Mercury was born to play the Six of Diamonds, the successful lead singer of the band Queen. And I remember watching the documentary about his life story. And no matter all the success and the accolades he had, he still felt that Ace of Hearts
Mhm.
loneliness.
Yeah,
And it
it's almost
was,
like imposter syndrome a little bit too, that I don't feel worthy of the that bio that you just read. Almost like I don't feel worthy of that, like that wasn't me or something. I'm not really sure what that's about, and I am working on that still, but now in my phase of my life to where I'm looking at like that exit strategy, I don't know what you would call it, but I'm even struggling with it more now. Like
oh,
now, who are you now? Without Celtic Sea Salt, who are you, Selena? You're not worth anything, are you?
wow.
Mm.
Well, again, thank you for your vulnerability and willingness to talk about this publicly.
Mm,
I have a feeling that it will help a lot of people to know that even someone like you, with all your success, that you're still learning to play your cards.
mm,
You're still going through the same human experience that we're all going through.
mhm. Yeah, and I'm telling you, I'm like a tool junkie, and I guess that I don't know if that shows up in my cards, that I don't have enough confidence in my own guidance and intuition that I like these kind of modalities to help me navigate.
Mm.
In talking about, self-love and worthiness, I feel like there's also just the collective consciousness. It's just not something we were taught.
Right.
That it's just not. So it's like in a way we're all learning. It's like unplugging from the group consciousness of like, no, you don't love yourself. You love, you're a martyr. You do for other people. You put other people first. You don't pay, you don't put yourself first. That's a selfish thing. It's we are all relearning like the truth, which that is not the truth. The truth is we're infinite beings of love. We are love. So it's a learning, in this life if we choose to learn how to do that for ourselves, and it's a big issue, I feel like. And
Well, it is, and to me, it goes right to biblical monotheism, which is the programming language of our Western society. Where, to your point, Vicky, we were all raised with, and the whole languaging and content of that is to love yourself is selfish. That's the programming in that construct. And I have had this conversation so many times for people with this Ace of Hearts energy in one way or another. It really is about, as you say, unplugging from that conditioning where you have to be selfless or altruistic to love yourself. That's bad somehow. And yet, that is your lesson, Selena, is to truly fall in love with yourself.
Mhm. And I don't know if boundaries came up anywhere, Alexander, in my cards. The whole boundaries thing. Did you recognize anything there?
Well, yes, that's what I started on a moment ago. The
Okay.
Five of Hearts in your shadow side. That so the Pluto card in our life path can cast a shadow over us, and it can get in the way. And when you talk about being a people pleaser, there's Five of Hearts in the shadow. The five is out of the box. It's coming out in a big way. There's a lot of love and a lot of passion that you would have for people, and it can be too much, just very in kind of simple terms. You have a lot of love to give. And what is I'm going to use the word appropriate format or space and time in which to give your love? And when is it too much? When are you overgiving? And then in other cases, when are you holding back too much? By the same token, it can be either or. You can withdraw or you can overextend and overgive your heart.
And underneath that is that the shadow, the Pluto card is the unconscious hidden fears. So there's
Well,
fear behind all of those things that Alexander's talking about playing out.
fear
Fear
of
of
not
not being
being
loved deeply.
loved, fear of being
Yeah,
rejected, fear of making the
yeah,
wrong decision.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Ah,
And so these are that's the shadow. It's an emotional card, the 5 of hearts, and so it's no accident you have the 5 of hearts and the ace of hearts in these key positions of learning and growth in your life, so that the emotional domain is where you're learning your life's lessons and where you're learning to face your fears.
and so as I am confronted or just comes up against just different experiences or relationships or whatever, acknowledging that will help me to understand, just watch it here. You're wanting to be loved, so you might give a little bit too much that you should. So look
Yeah,
at your boundaries, and
yeah.
that's how this understanding that helps. But what's interesting is like, it's, even though I know it and you told me that, I forgot it. It's like you need a
Mhm.
constant reminder
Yes. Yeah.
of these things,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Well, and that's where we get distracted by the world around us,
Yep.
by social media. That's the
Mm.
distraction.
Yeah, that's why
And
I'm excited
also
to do your games thing, your
oh,
daily games card, because you
yes.
know it's just gonna be easier to navigate through your day
Yeah.
of,
Mhm.
this acknowledgement of these things. Because the thing that's been coming up for me a lot is boundaries. And I had, some different things that just happened that you could look at it as I had some betrayal, that happened in my life. But in my opinion, um betrayal is really just an experience that you have because you have to um maybe alter your generosity or your boundaries. That's what I've noticed in my experience with the betrayal.
Mm,
I'll give you an example. I just went to Marival, this place in Arizona, and it's this healing retreat, and they do this horse therapy, and they had me walk in this thing with the horse. And as I was walking with the horse, I was just saying, "Oh, I just love you. You're so beautiful. And I just love you. You smell so good." And as I was walking and doing it, the horse was like backing me into the fence and backing me to the fence. I was like up against the gate, and the horse blocked me into the gate and wouldn't let me
Wow.
move. And I just kept saying, "But I love you. I love you so much. Why?" And so the therapist brought me back in. She goes, "Come over here." She goes, "Do you have a boundary problem?" And I went, "Are you kidding me? That horse just told you I have a boundary problem?" "Yeah." And she says, "And what were you saying to this horse while he was backing you into the gate?" And I was going, "I love you." He goes, "Yeah, that's what you do in life is you keep trying to feed people to like you and love you more, and it's not working, but you're just still giving to them and giving to them." And I'm not going to mention any names, Alexander, but I think in the back of your mind you know this person. And that's what I did, and it backfired. I mean, it was
mm,
the biggest betrayal of my life, and it was not that person's fault. I'm taking responsibility that I did not understand my boundaries of my generosity, and I was trying to get that person to love me more.
mm.
That's
Wow.
Wow.
it.
Wow.
That's amazing to me that the horse can pick up on that.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that
They can
crazy?
read the energy.
I know.
Yeah.
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 That was
And
pretty
I
awesome.
guess that's the point of that therapy, is that the horse reads the energy and then the therapist can see what the horse is revealing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And my daughter was there too, and it was pretty amazing to witness this. But it's another modality just to give us a reflection
Mm.
of what we are. But why I'm saying it is, in all these different things that I have gone in and experimented with or tested or have an experience with, it's the same things that come up. The
Interesting.
boundary, you know what I mean? They're all the
Mhm.
same. They're
Mhm.
just presented in a different way.
Yeah. You have such I just love talking to you because I just you really have such great the way you're articulating everything and how you're sharing and how you call yourself out and your own awareness is just so beautiful. And when you were talking earlier about like how you want to have more, it's about being mindful and am I giving too much? It's like really the 8 of clubs like in play in the high side, like that you have that awareness in yourself to say, "Oh, I'm giving too much in this moment right now to this other person." And then also, like, it's the awareness, but then with these cards that we're talking about with the Ace of Hearts and the 5 of Hearts, which are challenge cards for you, energy patterns for you, it's about feeling your feelings. So the ultimate healing is really going into the depths of how you really feel about those situations in yourself and then honoring and acknowledging your own feelings.
That's so interesting, and, here it goes again. I really am a little too transparent for my good, but, I want to escape, and I wanted to use cannabis to escape, and Alexander and I have talked about that before. So is that what you're talking about? I'm not getting in touch with my feelings, I'm trying to use escapes to not do that, and which card would show that?
It could be that in the Ace of Hearts being your Saturn, which is about life lessons and challenges, and then the unconscious hidden fears, which is the Pluto card, that's 5 of Hearts. Both being hearts, it's gonna be
Oh.
really important for you to really go into the feelings behind the situations. Like, what are you feeling about it in yourself? What are you feeling about what's happening with this other person?
Where the temptation would be to numb out the feelings and try to
Yes,
escape the
right.
feelings. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And
because 'cause they're
that's what
big
I tend to do.
feelings.
Yeah, and that's what I'm working on, and that's why I think that I need to get back with Alexander on these sessions again so that I could just navigate that tendency better.
Mm.
It's just like just knowing. It's not like he's like
Mhm.
slapping me around and saying you got to do this. It's just saying if you do that, you're playing out your cards, but this is the consequences of playing that card.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, as you've pointed out, it's a template that we can use to help us see ourselves and to give us that gentle, continual reminder,
Mm,
"Oh, this is what my soul chose. This is my human game plan. I can accept it. I don't have to beat myself up. Okay, these are my challenges. It is what it is." What I often say to people is life is a challenging game. It is a game, but it's challenging. If it weren't challenging, we'd get bored. You know, we have a challenge and
it's not a book that you would wanna read either. It'd be a boring book, right? A boring movie to watch.
sure, sure.
Yeah,
But so in your case, your key challenges come emotionally
yeah.
and
Now,
it is what it is.
in navigating this, how dependent would a person be on actually having sessions with you versus using the cards to navigate without your coaching on top with it?
That's an excellent question. We've built quite a few self-study programs, and even the daily game is a program you follow along on your own.
Mhm.
The hope is that eventually people can do it all on their own.
Mm,
That's, one day everybody will be literate in this system of knowledge. That's how I look at it. Like once upon a time, human beings were mostly illiterate, whenever that was a few hundred years ago. And now, whatever it is, at least in the developed world, 99.9% of people know how to read and write. I look at it the same way that the source cards, which have been unknown to most people and unconscious, will become conscious. And it's such a simple, elegant tool once you know the meaning of the 1 through 13 numbers and the meaning of the four suits. There's not really much to memorize. You know it, and then you can start to read it for
mm,
yourself. And then it becomes an everyday language that you
mm,
use, that we use in our lives every day. I imagine for now and for at least the foreseeable future, people will need guides and coaches to coach them about it. But I look forward to the day where everybody knows this for
Mm.
themselves.
mm.
And also, you know, I believe it has to do with that what cards people are playing, what they resonate with more in how they learn a new language, you
Yeah,
know.
it's a
So if
language.
somebody's playing a club, which represents the mind, they're probably going to really like the self-study programs. It's a lot of, reading and self-reflecting and journaling, right? That's great for a club. I'm playing a diamond. I want the session in person, like I want, or online, or, something. I want a
Yeah,
person. I want to talk to somebody. I've done it my whole life, like in sessions and working on myself. I'm going to somebody, So yeah, I think that also has to do with it as well.
yeah,
Mhm.
true.
And as you go through life, do your and you like my 20-year-old, is it the same thing as my 60-year-old, of those cards?
Well, you do have cycles that you move through. You have 7-year cycles and 13-year cycles. So the first 13 years of your life, you have a card in play for those 13 years, and then 13 to 26, and so on. And we have noticed that there are definitely shifts in energy patterns as you move through these different 7 years and 13-year cycles. And usually people have some milestone or something that they can point to in their life that happened when they were 13, when they were 7, or when they were 28. And it also overlaps with astrology, like the Saturn returns around age 28 as you move into your Saturn period in your life path. So there is overlap with other esoteric systems. But yes, you do move through different cycles and different patterns. And then every year you have cards in play just for the year.
But the life path that we've been talking about the whole time, like your 6 of diamonds birth card, 8 of clubs personality card, ace of hearts in the Saturn, 5 of hearts in the Pluto, that is all for your whole life. That is your life path. And then Alexander's talking about other cards that are in play as well.
Yeah. It's interesting. I love this system of knowledge. It's so simple and yet it's elegantly complex at the same time.
Mhm.
It's a fractal system, which means it's true on multiple levels simultaneously. So we can have cards in play for the day, for the year, for a whole life, for 7 years, for 13 years, and then different aspects within those cycles. It, I like it. It appeals to me,
Mhm. Yeah.
mathematics of it.
Yes.
How does this compare to, I guess, anything like astrology and gene keys and human design, numerology? How does this compare to those?
Well, it does compare to them. And interestingly enough, I had studied all of those before I found out about the real meaning of the cards.
Mhm.
And when I first learned the real meaning of the cards, I thought to myself, I'm going to set up a coaching practice where I read people's human design, their gene keys, and their cards, and I'm going to help them triangulate between all three systems.
Wow.
And I quickly realized that was a bit too much to bite off. That was a lot. And I had a kind of crossroads moment early on in my career of which one did I want to focus on.
Oh,
And I felt drawn to the cards. I
wow.
felt drawn to them for many reasons, but I liked the visual simplicity of them, and they just spoke to me. They resonated. Like this is the tool that I want to master and that I want to work with. Over the years, I've had people say to me things like they find the cards to be more elegant and simpler than something like human design or gene keys. And yet, I've learned so much about myself from those systems as well, and from Vedic astrology, sidereal astrology, Western astrology, Mayan astrology. I've looked into all of them and I've learned a lot about myself in all of these systems. My favorite part is when they start telling me the exact same thing, or that might not be my
Yeah.
favorite part actually,
Right.
because then I've like really got to pay attention
Hmm.
to something maybe negative that I need to look at in my
Mm.
field. But I've noticed that too, that these systems start to tell us the same things about ourselves, just utilizing a different perspective.
Or not. Like, I remember
Yeah.
I remember looking up when I first met Alexander, I looked up, in this big astrology relationship book, my birthday and his birthday, and it was, like, basically run for the hills. Like, it was awful, terrible match, like, and then in the cards, we are a perfect match. Like, it
Mm.
can't get any better than our match in the cards. So it's like, I went with the cards.
Vicky,
That
that's
is
so funny because
interesting.
So that is
it's
kind
like
of interesting.
you just read my mind because that was my next question. Because Alexander shared with me the story of him meeting you, and like it was a coffee shop and it was raining out and he was standing at the
Yeah.
door, all of that. And so
Mhm.
in that, did you went to astrology. What did you do, Alexander?
Well, I knew that she was a perfect match for me in the cards. And yet,
Wow.
this gets into a much longer story. I'll do the very quick version for now. That even though she was perfect for me in the cards, because she's my Venus card, that's what I mean by perfect. Um, Her birth card, the Five of Diamonds, is the Venus card in my life path. So that means that's what I would love in a woman, is exactly her birth card. So it's a perfect match. Even though that's true, there was a lot of friction early on in our interactions,
Hmm.
missing each other. Really
Oh yeah, we did that
we're
a
really
lot.
missing each other, and then
Wow.
butting heads.
Yeah.
And I was early on faced with a decision for myself. And I remember talking with a friend about this. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we're just meant to be friends. I'm not getting it. I'm not feeling this vibe.
Right.
And I had a decision to make where I thought to myself, either, and keep in mind, this was early on when I was still learning the cards as well. Either these cards are not accurate and I could trust my own kind of feelings here about this situation, or the cards are accurate and there's some conditioning confusion in myself that's leading me to feel like this isn't right.
Hmm.
I made the conscious decision that I would trust the cards and I
Wow.
would lean in and I would say, okay, according to these source cards, she's my Venus card. It's perfect match. What is it within me that is experiencing friction or disconnection here or discomfort? And lo and behold, not immediately, but over time, I realized, much to my chagrin and my horror, that I was still operating with the conditioning of my upbringing, that I still had these false ideas of what a man woman relationship dynamic should be, what it should feel like, what it should sound like, what it should be like. I still had these layers of conditioning and programming in my own heart that I needed to strip away. And luckily, I had this toolkit to show me, oh, she's a perfect match for you. You need to move past your discomfort here. You need to lean in. And there's something within you that you need to look at and reflect on and peel away those layers within you. Um, if I hadn't had this toolkit, I might have called it quits and be like, yeah, I'm sorry, but we're just not connecting. It's just not working. So, in that respect, I was really glad that I
Yeah.
had this toolkit.
Good.
And
That's
she
so
laughs
interesting.
about it now. We can joke about it now, but we really were missing each other early on.
Yeah. And would there been another card that would have showed you that, oh, yeah, my gut's telling me, right? This is not.
Well, yes, there's definitely, it's not a card per se. It's more like when there's space, when you're not in each other's life path, when there's
Hmm.
distance
Oh,
between you. And I've seen this to be true for people, that they may go for people who are unavailable.
I
And
see.
you would see that in their card design because they're not in each other's life path. So there is distance, but
And do
that's a self.
people ever, it's not the right timing. So, like, if you and Vicky didn't meet on that timing, would any of the end result been different if it was a different timing?
Um, the
Like only if I
timing
would have
is
met her
part of
10
the
years ago or
synchronicity. The
okay,
timing is part of the synchronicity.
it
It's
is.
not, I don't think that there's such a thing as the wrong timing.
Got
It
it.
just means that it isn't actually the right relationship. I think
Okay.
people get tripped up on that. Like, if only we'd met at a different time,
Yeah.
then it would have worked. No,
But you're meeting now,
the
so it's
timing is a
perfect.
part of this whole soul's game plan that's unfolding exactly as it is.
Yeah.
Do people come to you to say, "Hey, I met this person and are we
Yes.
compatible?"
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you get a lot of those.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that topic. It's just so fun.
And how does it feel when you have to tell them that, "Nope, they aren't the one?"
I'm not great at it, that's for sure. But I
Well,
have to say, Well, what we've also seen is that people can have that distance. I mean, I know people married for a long time who have the distance, in the life paths, but they work on themselves, they work with each other, they communicate. So and you can't really predict,
Well, that's the
and
thing.
I've also seen people that are a great match and not work, because, somebody they're not working on themselves or they're not, like growing together, and it just doesn't work out, so
That's the thing is that we've learned that we don't actually predict. We don't tell people this is compatible or this is not compatible. We don't utilize those words. What we do is we tell people the dynamics.
Got
So
it.
if we look and we see, oh, there's a lot of distance between the two of them, then we'll tell them this is the dynamic. Is this what you want?
Mhm.
Because it's not going to change. And what Vicky's alluding to is we've seen people with that same distance work out in relationships where one person travels all the time for work. And so they don't actually see each other a lot. There is actually distance in their relationship, but it works for them. They're
Mm.
content with that. So what we can point out are the dynamics of it, not whether it will succeed or fail.
Mm.
It's just what are the dynamics and is that what you want?
I
Yeah,
mean, we've
and I
even
guess
had people.
you do that even
Sorry.
with, I guess, with partnerships and everything. I'm sure that you say,
Absolutely.
Yes.
"This is a good partnership."
Yeah.
Not even if is it a good partnership, it's this is the kind of dynamics that
The
you're going to
kind of okay.
experience.
Not good
Is
or
that what
bad.
you
Okay.
want? It's
Right.
not good or bad. It's just these are the musical harmonics. This is the music that you're going to have. Do you like this music? And if not, maybe pick somebody different where you're going to have different music in your
Mm.
experience.
Nice way to say it.
Amazing. We need
Yeah,
this in
we've even had
schools.
people who are playing, the Saturn and the Pluto, which we just talked about with you, meet someone that's their Pluto card and the Saturn card. And they're both in it. They're both ready for the
They're
challenge.
happily married.
They're happily married and they both work on themselves and it's great for them. But somebody else might be like, just in total conflict all the time because they're just the Pluto and the Pluto and the Saturn energies are being like reared to the surface and people are like freaking out, and not able to handle it kind of thing and it
Yeah.
doesn't work for them, so it's yeah, depends.
It just depends what you want. And once
Yeah.
I learned the cards, I was consciously looking for a woman who was my Venus card.
Mm.
Oh,
I just
wow.
like, if I can choose, because I'm single, who I want to be with, why wouldn't I choose
Mm.
my Venus card?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. That's pretty awesome. Do you
So
ever
when we met, I was really excited. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
the first thing I did was ask her birthday, and then I knew, like, oh,
Wow.
she's my Venus card.
That is so awesome. Do we come here in different, lives as different relationships with our partners? So you and Vicky were together in another life and she was a this and you were a that. And do you
I
see
think
that
so.
anywhere?
I believe that. Yes.
You do?
We
Yes.
did
Interesting.
some work together,
Mhm.
and we feel
Yeah.
like we discerned some past lives that
Yeah.
we were in
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you come into this life and playing
Mm.
out the cards that you're playing to, I guess, expand even more or evolve even more.
Yes, we decided to before we came in to spread the source cards in the world.
Yeah. That's pretty exciting. Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's a
guys
lot
have
of
to bring
fun.
this into the schools. Could you imagine
That's
if
what I wanna do.
children and teachers had
Yes.
this? Oh, come
That's what
Yes.
I
on.
want.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
would that be
yes.
so amazing? Because I know
I
from my
want
Thank you.
company,
Yeah.
it really helped. And we just did with my new partners is they just did a Hogan profile test where they come in and test your personality and then they say, oh, we got it's basically looking at your infrastructure of your employees to see, are you heavy weighted on too many head people and not enough creative people, or too many of this people or not enough of
Mm,
this people?
Mm.
Do you guys do that
interesting.
also for companies' infrastructure?
I I started years ago. We're in New York City, and years ago, I started down that path. I had a few people tell me this would be great for corporations. I did not find any traction at the time because this is an esoteric system, and at least in New York City, corporations were really hesitant to bring in anything that had any kind of woo-woo energy about it. Maybe times have changed. Maybe people will be more open now. Personally, I think this system is way more accurate than any kind of self assessment questionnaire test that these corporations use. I think it would be a fantastic use of this knowledge. I've just not yet experienced corporations being willing to bring in anything esoteric into their world.
They should start looking into it, because when I did the Hogan thing and then they presented it, and all the employees were going, "That's not me. Are you kidding?" And I was just thinking, this was all on questionnaires, and I might have been in a really bad mood that day.
Yes.
When they
Exactly.
said, "Do you
Yeah.
like to be in social settings?" No, I do not. But you know what I mean? Like,
That's exactly it. I've noticed that over and over again. How we respond on those questionnaires is almost like we're trying to fool ourselves sometimes.
oh yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're playing this Pollyanna game where, oh, life is just whatever, and it really is
Right.
not that reality. But with the cards, they can't lie. I mean,
There's no BSing it. Yeah.
not at all. No, there's
Well,
no personal.
we're seeing it, so we'll manifest it.
Yeah, we'll take this
We're
conversation
manifesting it
offline
and putting it out.
and, yeah, we'll talk about it more because it's a great idea, and I really want children everywhere to grow up knowing their cards to play.
Yeah,
What a different world we would have.
and
Yeah,
so
and
it
I do
is.
think that we're moving into that reality is, people want to go
Yes.
deeper. They have more
Yes,
whys in
yeah,
house,
yes.
than they ever have, and I don't think they're trusting the matrix and the systems anymore to get those answers. They're trying to go within deeper to understand. There was a reason I came here, and let's just, cut out all the BS and try to figure it out, and let's just go right there. Can you imagine the schools, or when a child is born and you go ahead and lay it out and they start to do something, they said, "It's okay. They're playing their card, and it's okay with
Yes,
Exactly.
that. Don't judge it."
exactly,
You know?
exactly.
Exactly.
Beautifully said, beautifully
Yeah,
said. Selena, we have one final question for you,
sure.
and that is, if you had your own massive billboard that millions or even billions of people could see, what would it say and why?
Mm, That's a good one. I would say, turn your fear into faith, because it's the fear that is cutting off what the faith can actually manifest for you, which is everything you want. That's what I would say.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. You
I
guys are
love it.
awesome. You rock, man. This is really
Thank
such
you.
a great thing that you guys are doing. I would love to be more a part of it. The world needs it. And I just think it's awesome what you guys are doing.
Oh,
Well,
thank you so
thank you
much.
so much. We, use your salt every day. We love your Celtic
Well,
Sea
your
Salt.
soul keeps me healthy. I'm not kidding. Like, I had a lifetime of dehydration and had no idea why, and then learned all about minerals. And I mean, like, that's it. That's everybody needs Celtic sea salt, period.
Thank you. I have a
Yeah.
question. Do you ever like in astrology, they have these things where they go, when was your brand incorporated, and that's the
Yep.
birthday of your brand. Do brands or companies have
Yes.
card charts?
You have born on dates, so whatever
Yeah.
date you incorporated, those are cards of your company, absolutely.
That's so interesting, because as the company is going through whatever it's going through right now, I am asking myself, like, when you have a company and you've been running it like it is part of your it's part of your body, it's part of your everything, and then you bring a partner in and they're just as invested, because they're a partner, they're not a CEO, so it's not like it's an employee that you just put in a position, and if they screw up then they can quit their job. This is a person that every decision they make, they're going to pay the consequences too, in every decision that they make. If the brand has its own destiny, which I don't know the birth time and everything of the original, incorporation of it, how much of that destiny do I still hold for this brand versus the new partners hold for the brand? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm
That
going,
is a
okay, are you off
very
balance? If
good
anything's going
question.
wrong, or you got to get back in your in the vortex or whatever it is. Yeah, but what if it's not my vortex? It's their vortex.
It's a
Mhm.
shared energy now, and that would be something we could look into if you
Yeah.
want. But
Yeah.
yes, it would be a shared energy between the two of you, and we could look at the relationship patterning between the two of you. If it
Mm-hmm.
is two of you who are the key decision makers,
Mm-hmm.
like for instance, the shared energy pattern between Vicky and I is the Ace of Spades. That's the symbol of our shared energy pattern.
which is about initiating new consciousness.
Oh,
And
wow. And where did you get that card? Is it from the birth
you get
date
it
of?
by adding up. It's a little bit of an esoteric calculation, but
Okay.
you can add up the solar values of the two cards. And then based on what that card is between the two of you, then you do know what your dynamic is together and how to proceed together. So we could look into that if you want.
I'm gonna have to book some more sessions with you, Alexander, and go through this this next chapter together.
Well, it'll be my pleasure, Selena. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining us
you.
today.
This has been fantastic.
Thank you so
Yeah, thank
much.
you.
This
So
has been
beautiful.
great. It's fed
And
my
thank you,
soul. I
everyone.
got some food for my soul today.
Oh, good. We hope so. We hope that that is the case. And for everyone listening, that you learned something new today about
Mhm.
what it's like to play the Six of Diamonds with the Eight of Clubs personality. Selena, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you
Thank
guys for
you.
being such amazing nutrients for our soul. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, thank you.